In the twilight-dappled city of Laverian, towering marble spires and silken banners proclaim the unassailable supremacy of the elves. Humans, relegated to servant quarters and forced labor, toil beneath the shadow of elven aristocracy. Among them is Cale Draven, a quick-witted blacksmith's son whose fiery temper and restless spirit have already drawn the harsh lash of elven overseers. Yet his heart refuses to submit. Every hammer strike he delivers at the forge is guided by suppressed hope. The hope that one day, humans will stand tall and no longer bow to elven disdain. Meanwhile, within the Ivory Court, Princess Elenia Erthal, daughter of the High King, basks in privilege but chafes under the weight of expectations. She has been trained from birth to uphold elven traditions and to view humans as little more than creatures of toil. Nevertheless, she senses a growing unrest among her subjects. Rumors flit through the servant corridors of a human uprising. Whispers speak of a hidden artifact buried deep beneath the ruins of the First War, capable of shifting the balance of power. Though elven scholars dismiss these tales as old legends, Elenia finds herself quietly intrigued. She wonders if there might be truth in the stories. Could a mortal relic really possess the power to challenge thousands of years of elven dominance? Cale's world tilts further when a rival elven noble, Lord Thalas Ferendal, brandishes cruel authority to enforce stricter rules on the human laborers. A minor misstep, a smudged engraving on an elven sword, brings Cale under Thalas's suspicion. Thalas accuses him of sabotage and orders Cale to stand trial before the court. Hundreds gather to witness the spectacle. Elves draped in emerald silks, haughty expressions fixed upon the accused human. Cale's pulse pounds in his ears as elven magistrates demand to know why he dared to deface their craft. But Cale, refusing to be intimidated, stands tall. With unwavering eyes, he challenges their accusations, demanding proof rather than blind obedience. The court, furious at his insolence, condemns him to public punishment. As the onlookers gasp in shock, a sudden tremor rattles the Grand Plaza. Laughter and gasps ripple through the crowd as an underground tremor, remnant of the ancient war, shakes loose a section of the marble floor near the fountain. Beneath the cracking tiles, a faint, ethereal glow pulses. Humans and elves alike scramble to witness the spectacle. Cale, sensing an opportunity, pushes through the throng and kneels to examine the source. Dust and debris swirl as he pries away a broken slab, revealing runic markings etched onto a crystalline surface, the Orondil Shard. Word of the shard's emergence spreads like wildfire through the servant districts. Hope ignites among the downtrodden. Perhaps this ancient relic can indeed empower their cause. In the Ivory Court, Elenia hears the rumors and feels a surge of contradictions within her. Loyalty to her lineage wars with a growing empathy for these humans she once viewed as lesser. As dusk settles over Laverian, the stark divides between oppressor and oppressed become ever more tangled, setting in motion a chain of events neither elves nor humans fully understand. Late one night, Cale Draven slips through narrow alleys to a hidden chamber beneath the city. He had heard rumors of a secret meeting of human rebels, and tonight he needed to see for himself. The chamber is dimly lit by flickering lanterns, and a dozen weary faces gather around a simple wooden table. They speak in hushed tones about the Orondil Shard, an ancient relic said to amplify courage and sharpen minds. According to whispered stories, the shard lies deep beneath the ruins of the First War, far from the watchful eyes of elven patrols. Cale's heart pounds as he realizes how close this chance is to changing everything for his people. After the meeting, Cale volunteers to join a small group of rebels heading toward the old ruins. The next morning, before the sun's first rays touch the marble spires of Laverian, Cale and 4 companions slip out of the servant quarters. They move through deserted streets until the opulence of the city gives way to crumbling walls and overgrown paths. Each step takes them farther from safety and deeper into the unknown. Hours later, they reach a collapsed archway leading underground. Keening winds drift out, carrying a chill that raises goosebumps on their arms. Below the surface, the air is cold and damp. Jagged roots descend from above, and walls are covered in ancient ivy. Kale's hand hovers over the hilt of his dagger as they navigate treacherous passages. Every so often, the rebels pause to check tattered scroll maps and make sure they have not lost their way. In the distance, they hear the drip of water echoing through empty corridors. Faint runic symbols glow on the walls, hinting at long-forgotten wards. Kale steps carefully around a rune etched on the floor. If disturbed, it could trigger a trap. Meanwhile, high in the ivory court, Princess Elenia Erthel grows restless with her daily duties. She listens to her tutors drone on about etiquette and politics, but her mind wanders to the rumors of human rebellion and the Orondil Shard. She wonders if humans can really find such an artifact, and why Elven scholars dismiss these stories as mere myths. Driven by curiosity, she decides to learn more by slipping away from her guard. She disguises herself in simple garments borrowed from a loyal servant and steals out into the waking city. Elenia's steps lead her toward the old quarter, where the city's outer wall stands in ruin. She follows winding alleys until she comes to the same collapsed archway. Hiding in the shadows, she watches as Kale and his companions enter. Her breath catches in her throat as she sees Kale's determined face and the small band of rebels risking everything. She wants to call out but holds back, determined to learn without interfering. In the depths, Kale's group finds a hidden chamber filled with broken statues and collapsed pillars. At its center lies a stone pedestal, and upon it rests a faintly glowing crystal. Kale kneels and brushes away dust. The Orondil Shard glimmers in his hand, its soft light illuminating the chamber. A sudden tremor shakes the walls, and the rebels freeze. Stone slabs shift, revealing hidden blades and arcane sigils that pulsate with energy. Elenia watches in shock as Kale examines the shard. She wonders what power lies within it, and why elves have feared it for centuries. As the chamber begins to collapse around Kale and his friends, Elenia realizes this moment could change everything. Before she can decide whether to help or hide, a roar echoes through the tunnels. Thalas Verendil's patrol is approaching. Kale sees the shift in the stone overhead and grips the shard tighter, ready for whatever comes next. In the dim light of torches, Kale's hand tightens around the Orondil Shard as he and his companions stand in a vast, echoing chamber. They have carefully navigated the winding tunnels, avoiding ancient wards and hidden traps, only to find themselves face to face with their greatest fear. A patrol of Elven scouts silent as shadows, moving through the subterranean corridors above. The first clash begins without warning. A slender elven blade glints in the torchlight as a scout lunges at two of Kale's comrades. The humans, caught between relief at finding the shard and terror at the elven ambush, scramble for weapons. Kale, his chest pounding, holds the shard aloft. Its crystalline surface pulses with an inner light that seems to seep into his very bones, sharpening his reflexes and steadying his resolve. A hail of arrows whistles through the chamber as more elven archers appear on a raised ledge. Their arrows, designed to incapacitate, hiss through the air. Kale gestures to his friends, and they dive behind a fallen pillar for cover. The shard's glow intensifies, as though guiding Kale's instincts. He steps forward, grabbing a discarded sword, and charges toward the ledge. The shard's energy flows through him. He sidesteps an arrow that should have found his shoulder, and the tip of his blade finds the wooden beam supporting the ledge, causing it to splinter. Below, Kale's companions, Silas, Lena, and Fyra, engage smaller groups of Elven soldiers, using crude but effective tactics learned from scrounged training manuals. Silas hurls a makeshift spear through the air, knocking one scout from his perch. Lena, her face set with grim determination, wields a short sword with surprising skill, parrying a devastating blow that could have shattered her arm. Fyra applies small, improvised explosives to undermine the chamber's structural supports, hoping to buy them a momentary advantage. As Kale climbs the rubble toward the ledge, the shard's light converges on his mind. Thoughts become swift, focused. He identifies the pattern of Elven defenses, predicting where their next volley will land. With a powerful downward swing, he severs the support beam, sending a cascade of stone and wood crashing onto the archers above. The chamber trembles, dust filling the air as the Elven scouts tumble into this maelstrom. The Elven patrol retreats, but not without a final, desperate strike. A scout wounded but defiant lunges at Kale from the shadows. Kale, guided by the shard's clarity, intercepts the attack. Their blades clash, sparks dancing in the gloom. Kale senses the faint echo of Elven magic lingering on the scout's sword. With a quick feint, he disarms his opponent and presses the blade to the scout's throat. Beneath the cold shine of the shard, the scout's defiance crumbles into uncertain fear. Silence reigns for a breathless moment. The shard's glow dims, its power spent in shaping the outcome of this fierce skirmish. Kale lowers his blade and releases the scout. The wounded elf staggers backward, eyes filled with disbelief. Kale turns to his companions, breathing heavily. Despite injuries sustained by Silas and Lena, the humans have won this battle. As they tend to their wounds and gather the shard, a tremor shakes the chamber once more, a reminder that their struggle has only just begun. With the shard secured, Kale leads his weary band into the darkness, determined to bring hope and defiance back to those who wait above. In the weeks that follow the clash beneath the earth, Kale Draven returns to the human enclave with news of both triumph and peril. Word of his victory over the Elven patrol spreads quickly among the servant quarters, sowing seeds of hope and defiance in even the wariest hearts. Yet the victory has come at a cost. Silas and Lena bear fresh scars, and rumors swirl that the High King's advisors plan harsher crackdowns. Unrest simmers as humans debate whether to strike now or wait for stronger numbers. Meanwhile, in the Ivory Court, Princess Elenia Erthel can no longer ignore the disquiet in her soul. Her days, once filled with lessons in diplomacy and protocol, now feel hollow. She finds herself haunted by memories of Kale's unwavering gaze in the forge and the sight of human faces alight with hope upon hearing of his success. Her tutors speak of rebellion as betrayal, yet Elenia wonders if her lineage is built on fragile pride rather than true justice. Driven by a gnawing need to understand, she confides only in her closest maid, Celis, who warns of dangers but respects Elenia's yearning for truth. One moonless night, Elenia slips from the palace through a secret passage she discovered as a child. She dons the simple garments of a servant and crosses silent corridors until she reaches the human quarter. There, she is struck by the contrast. Where the court exudes gleaming white marble, these alleys are narrow and littered with soot. She moves with cautious steps, guided by the muted glow of lanterns and the distant hum of forging. Eventually, she arrives at the forge where Kale works, his hammer striking the anvil in rhythmic defiance. Kale hems a suit of armor when Elenia appears at the doorway. Shock flashes in his eyes, and for a moment, neither speaks. Elenia holds out a small bundle of medicinal herbs and dried meats, gifts she knows will help Kale's sister recover from a lingering fever. He hesitates, torn between gratitude and suspicion. Finally, he accepts the bundle. Elenia watches as he works it into a poultice, relief softening his features. Through a mesh of whispered questions and cautious answers, Elenia learns the challenges humans face. Rations cut, guards more ruthless, and fear of Elven retribution constant. In return, she shares what little she knows of court dealings, patrol schedules, guard rotations, and the High King's favored battlefield tactics. As weeks pass, their clandestine conversations deepen. Kale sees a purity of purpose in Elenia's eyes, a desire to right injustice that transcends her royal upbringing. Elenia, in turn, is drawn to Kale's fierce determination and compassion for his people. She begins to question the rigid caste system more and more, realizing that the values she was raised to uphold serve only to perpetuate suffering. Still, each meeting carries risk. If discovered, Elenia would face disgrace at best and execution at worst, while Kale and his allies could be forced into servitude or worse. One evening, Kale leads Elenia through a hidden tunnel to a small chamber where other rebels gather. Lantern light flickers off hopeful faces as Elenia unveils a simple sketch of the Ivory Court's layout. Murmurs ripple through the group. Here is proof that at least one elf among the nobility believes in their cause. Emboldened by Elenia's willingness to share secrets, the rebels craft plans to exploit a weak point in the palace defenses during the upcoming structural inspection, a rare occasion when elven guards will reassign posts overnight. Cale trains his comrades in stealth tactics, while Elenia arranges for intelligence to be smuggled from within the court. Yet tensions rise when an elven patrol discovers signs of recent passage through a collapsed tunnel. Cale senses betrayal within their ranks but cannot identify the spy. Elenia's knights are plagued by nightmares of being unmasked. Despite these fears, their partnership remains steadfast. Under flickering torchlight, they swear a silent oath to stand beside one another, even as the world trembles around them. The forbidden alliance they have forged becomes a beacon of possibility, hinting that perhaps elven and human worlds might someday coexist rather than remain forever divided. In the dead of night, under the pale glow of twin moons, Cale Draven and a small band of rebels slip through shadowed alleys toward the Ivory Court. Tonight is the Festival of Stars, a time when elven pride swells and guards lower their vigilance to partake in celebration. Cale's heart hammers as he recalls Elenia's whispered intelligence. At the height of revelry, the armory's outer gates will be left unguarded. Clad in stolen elven cloaks, the rebels move like ghosts past marble columns, each step measured, each breath silent. Concurrently, Princess Elenia Arthel performs her role in the court's festivities. She drifts among dancers, her laughter echoing through chandelier-lit halls, concealing turmoil beneath a graceful smile. When the High King and his council turn to watch the celestial dances, Elenia slips away, her silken gown abandoned in a lonely corridor. She gathers her nerves and heads toward a secret passage, one that leads directly beneath the armory. There she disables the arcane wards that would otherwise trigger alarms. Her pulse races as she prays no guard spies her silhouette against the flickering torchlight. Below, Cale's group reaches the armory gates. The ancient wood has been weakened by intriguing alchemical mixtures that Farah, the explosives expert, prepared days earlier. A gentle touch from Cale causes the latch to give way without a sound. Inside, rows of elven steel swords and intricately carved shields gleam dully in torchlight. Silas and Lena fill backpacks with weapons while Cale moves to secure vials of alchemical oil, essential for arming human fighters. Every heartbeat resonates like a drum in Cale's ears. The thrill of potential victory, the risk of exposure. As Cale places the final sword into his pack, Elenia's warning crackles in his mind. Watch for betrayal. Suddenly, the corridor behind them erupts in silver light. Elven patrols, led by Karis the Lorien, Elenia's cousin, flood the chamber. Cale curses under his breath, realizing the trap. Karis has betrayed them, lured by promises of power. A fierce skirmish ignites. Elven swords flash, their martial precision honed through centuries. Cale draws the Orondel shard. Its glow seeps into his veins, steadying his aim. He swings with uncanny speed, arsing the blade in perfect trajectory to intercept an elven commander's strike. Farah hurls a smoke bomb into the ranks, shrouding the chamber in swirling gray. Lena and Silas seize the moment, pressing forward to break the enemy's line. Cale's eyes lock on Karis, whose smug grin dissolves into shock as Cale's blade knocks the ornate hilt from his grasp. Sparks dance as steel meets steel. With a final push, Cale severs the beam supporting a grated platform above. It collapses, sending armored elven knights crashing down. Alarm bells toll throughout the palace as chaos erupts. Outside, human sympathizers coordinate diversions. Fires set to wagons on the palace's eastern ramparts draw light guards away. Cale and his friends dart through the confusion, shielding the shard's glow from prying eyes. Despite the shock of betrayal, the raid succeeds. The rebels escape with enough weaponry to arm an entire detachment. As dawn's first light seeps through shattered gatehouses, Elenia emerges from the secret tunnel breathless. She meets Cale at the edge of a hidden courtyard. Their eyes lock, gratitude and shock mingling. Though they have secured the weapons, the betrayal cuts deep. Karis the Lorien's treachery has sharpened both elven resolve and human caution. Kale touches the shard's surface, its glow dimming now that its purpose is served for the night. Together, Kale and Elenia slip into the misty dawn, knowing the war has truly begun. In the aftermath of their daring raid, Kale Draven and Elenia Arthel find themselves on a narrow ledge overlooking the ruins of Valkareth, an ancient elven stronghold reclaimed by time. Vines snake up its crumbling columns, and moonlight glints off shattered mosaics. Kale's body aches from the skirmishes, but his heart races with equal parts triumph and dread. He knows that they have earned both hope and wrath. Beside him, Elenia's expression is a mixture of elation and guilt. They share a brief, tense silence before Kale breaks it. His voice low and steady. "We have what we came for, but the real fight starts now." They descend into the ruins, slipping past fallen statues that once honored elven heroes. Every step echoes memories of a war long ended, but here their struggle feels ancient and immoral. Elenia's hand grazes a vine-covered relief depicting interwoven hands, an age-old symbol of elven-human unity, now shattered by prejudice. She pauses, tracing the grooves with her finger and whispers, "Our ancestors dreamed of peace." Kale's gaze softens. He touches the relief as well, imagining the world it once represented. Deep within, they discover a hidden chamber bathed in silver light. Murals line the walls, scenes of humans and elves standing side by side, forging plows, crafting tomes, and singing at communal feasts. The air here feels alive, a silent echo of the unity that once existed. Elenia steps forward, voice hushed with reverence. They fought together, long before our histories turned blood-stained. Kale nods, feeling a swell of sorrow for what has been lost. As dawn's first rays filter through cracks in the ceiling, the chamber reveals a raised dais. Upon it sits a pedestal carved from moonstone, its surface etched with runes of binding and hope. Elenia hesitates, then gently places her palm upon the runes. They glow faintly, as if recognizing her touch. Kale stands beside her, clutching the Orondil shard in one hand, and feels its warmth pulse in rhythm with his heart. Together, they place the shard upon the pedestal. The runes flare with light, and a gentle hum fills the chamber, reverberating through their bones. The murals glow brighter, and for a moment, time seems to slow. Kale glimpses visions, elven elders and human chieftains forging alliances beneath ancient trees. Children laughing as they share stories. Artisans unveiling crafted works of music and art. The weight of centuries lifts, replaced by longing for a unity unspoiled by prejudice. Elenia's eyes glisten with unshed tears as she watches these faded memories come alive. But the moment is fragile. A distant roar shatters the serenity. An elven hunting party led by Karis the Lorien closes in, seeking both Elenia and Kale. Sparks of panic ignite in Kale's chest. He grips Elenia's hand. "We must leave," he urges, his voice taut. Elenia's gaze flickers between the glowing murals and Kale's determined face. She closes her eyes, pressing a final farewell to the vision of unity before turning away. They race back through winding tunnels, the shard's glow guiding their steps. As footsteps thunder behind them, Elenia recalls the High King's proclamation. Any elf who aids humans would be branded traitor. Her mind flashes to her father's stern face, the echo of his words still lingering. Serve elvenkind unwaveringly. Yet now she rejects that path with every breath. They burst into the moonlit courtyard, breathless and trembling, as elven swords slash at stone walls where the runes still flicker with residual light. Kale lifts the shard, its power surging one last time. A dome of energy ripples outward, sending the elven hunters sprawling to their knees. Dust swirls as the barrier dissolves. Kale and Elenia seize the moment, slipping into the night beyond the stronghold. Behind them, Valkareth's ancient stones stand witness to a promise reborn. That even in a world steeped in division, love and courage can rekindle the flame of unity. As they fade into the shadows, Neither humans nor elves can yet imagine the storm they have set in motion. In the pale light of dawn, the valley before the Ivory Court brims with a tide of determined faces. Under Kael Draven's guidance, human insurgents, once scattered and leaderless, have finally coalesced into a unified force. Their banners, stitched together from stolen fabrics and dyed in muted earth tones, flutter in the morning breeze. Each banner carries the emblem of a hidden rune discovered beneath the ancient ruins, a symbol meant to remind humans that their destiny is their own to claim. As they stand in silent formation, Elven sentinels patrol the ramparts above, their eyes narrowed with disdain and anticipation. Within the marble halls of the Ivory Court, Elenia Earthful moves through gilded corridors, her silver gown trailing like a comet across the polished floors. Though the Festival of Stars is long over, the memory of its festivities lingers in every carved arch and chandelier's glow. Today, however, revelry has been replaced by mounting dread. Rumors of human siege drums have reached even the highest chambers. Elenia's heart is torn between loyalty to her heritage and the knowledge that her people's unearned pride has fueled generations of suffering. She pauses before a massive stained glass window depicting the High King's ancestors and lets her hand hover over the pane. Behind her, guards shift uneasily, sensing her unrest. Outside the palace gates, Kael signals his war captains. "Remember what we fight for," he murmurs, voice taut with resolve. "Not for hatred, but for a future where our children need not bow." His words pass from ear to ear, forging silent oaths among the gathered ranks. At his side stands Lena, her blade gleaming despite its crude finish. She meets Kael's gaze and nods once, a promise of fierce loyalty. On the flanks, Fura readies alchemical traps, barrels of sleeping powder and makeshift explosives fashioned from stolen elven alchemy. Their purpose is not slaughter, but to shatter the court's illusion of invulnerability. As the first human war horn sounds, elven archers send a volley of arrows into the sky, more as warning than intent to kill. The arrows' polished tips catch the early sunlight and rain down over the human lines, but none aim to pierce flesh. Raylos, the elven commander, orders a measured warning rather than a bloodbath. Kael watches the arrows arc overhead and inhales sharply. At his nod, human archers release their own shafts. The quivers sing as metal flies toward the ramparts, forcing elven defenders to duck behind battlements. In the courtyard below the High King's tower, Elenia assassinates her doubt. She approaches a hidden ingress, a narrow sally port she discovered in her youth. Here, only a handful of elite guards stand watch, expecting no breach from within. Elenia glides past them, her familiar voice hidden beneath a practiced accent. Once inside the lower walls, she meets Kael at a dimly lit junction. Their eyes lock, and for a heartbeat, neither speaks. Then, without hesitation, Elenia produces an enchanted sigil that disrupts the court's defensive wards. A hush falls as the wards flicker and die, granting the human forces a secret route into the courtyard. Kael and his captains slip through the sally port, emerging onto the palace grounds. Stunned guards scramble to raise an alarm, but the sudden appearance of human fighters among the gardens and marble fountains throws them into chaos. Barricades tumble as men and women press forward. The Orondil shard, cradled in Kael's hand, glows faintly, a beacon of hope rather than violence. Its light seems to steady his comrades' nerves, reminding them that their purpose is more than conquest. Up above, Raylos rallies elven cavalry, ordering a countercharge. Thunderous hooves clash against stone, sending tremors that ripple through the palace floors. Even so, human tactics, guided by Elenia's intimate knowledge of guard shifts and weak points, force elven knights to redirect, isolating them from their spellcasters. Within the throne room, the High King's voice echoes, demanding retreat and loyalty. But Kael and Elenia stride forward together, their joined resolve cutting through fear. As the palace trembles under the weight of rebellion, neither elf nor human can predict whether this day will forge a new dawn or shatter everything they hold dear. In the dim light of dawn, Kael Draven and Elenia Earthful stand before the shattered gates of the Ivory Court. The stone beneath their feet is cracked, draped in tendrils of smoke and banners both elven and human fluttering side by side. Behind them, the human insurgents fan out across the courtyard, weapons lowered though ready, awaiting the outcome of this final confrontation. Within the throne room, the High King sits upon his hoarfrost-carved seat, flanked by his most loyal advisors. His face is drawn and weary, etched by years of unchallenged rule. Around him, elves shift uncomfortably, uncertain whether to stand by his prideful decree or to yield to the rising tide of change. Kale steps forward, cradling the Orondel shard in one hand. Its now gentle glow illuminates his weathered features. He raises his voice, not in anger, but in plea. You built these walls believing they would protect you forever. Yet walls cannot shelter a heart that refuses to change. Today, we stand not as conquerors, but as equals, offering a new path forward. His words echo through the vaulted chamber, stirring whispers among the elves. Elenia clasps his other hand, her silver hair catching the wavering light like threads of moonlight. She speaks softly. Father, our people have suffered under division for centuries. I ask you not to surrender to defeat, but to embrace a future where elven and human children learn side by side. The High King's gaze flickers between his daughter's earnest eyes and Kale's resolute face. For a moment silence reigns, a breath held between eras. Then, with a trembling hand, the High King stands. He reaches for a curved blade at his side, intent on a final ritual that would consume the shard's power and banish the humans forever. But Elenia, stepping between them, catches his arm. You will not do this, she whispers, voice laced with both love and sorrow. Pride has blinded you. Let compassion guide you now. The High King hesitates, pain flickering in his ancient eyes. He lowers the blade, his shoulders sagging under the weight of countless decisions. As he releases the ritual's hold, the shard surges once more, light flaring through the throne room like the rising sun. The energy pulses outward, silencing the tension in the air. Advisors and knights alike drop to their knees, humbled by the shard's final gift. Revelation, not destruction. Elven mages gather around the throne, murmuring incantations to contain the shard's light. When the glow finally fades, the chamber is transformed. Shattered windows mended with simple wooden planks, marble floors dusted by lingering motes of light. The High King turns to Kale and Elenia, tears glistening beneath his regal brow. He lowers his head in quiet surrender. I release you from my rule, he murmurs, voice hoarse with emotion. Let this court belong to all who call it home. Outside, a chorus of gentle cheers rises as elven guards lower their banners and step aside, allowing humans to approach without fear. Kale and Elenia descend the steps together, hands intertwined. The human forces stand ready to celebrate, but instead they halt at the threshold of the throne room, showing restraint born of new hope. Villagers, artisans, and scholars, once segregated, move forward, meeting one another with uncertain curiosity laced with cautious warmth. In the weeks that follow, the Ivory Court reopens its doors. Elven elders walk alongside human teachers, crafting new laws rooted in equality. Markets once restricted swell with song and trade from both peoples. Children laugh as they learn to write runes and forge iron tools together, embodying the unity their elders fought so hard to achieve. Kale and Elenia stand upon the balcony overlooking the reawakening city. Dawn's light spills across rooftops, neither elf nor human casting the other's shadow. In that soft glow, they share a gentle smile. The Orondel shard, its duty fulfilled, rests in a simple wooden box within the palace archives, no longer an object of power, but a reminder of a future born from courage and compassion. Beneath the rosy sky, two worlds forever intertwined step forward into a new dawn.